Hello and welcome to DCP episode 411. Wait, isn't that
Hello.
band 411 or is it 311?
311.
311. Ah, we missed it by 100 episomes. Dang it.
We
It's
gotta
so
go
close.
back. Actually, welcome to 311, episode 2.
Welcome to DCP Rewind.
Got a lot to talk about tonight. Did anybody see the Doom, what is it, Dark Ages trailer? That was really
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was watching it live, baby.
Watch,
Yep.
we're also playing Ninja Gaiden 2. Is it
I love
Remake?
Ninja Gaiden too.
Black, the remake.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. Yep.
And then there's
Remake
a
or
new trailer
remaster?
for Ninja Gaiden 4.
You're dropping a lot of news, Briar. These
Yeah,
are like big announcements.
my
You gotta
bad.
hype it up
Yeah,
a
you
little
gotta
bit.
I
work
love
with
it.
it.
You gotta be like,
love it.
you know.
The off-the-top
put a
energy is
Briar-
good.
Briar just skipping the foreplay. He's just going right for it here. Oh, jeez.
Ninja Gaiden
You gotta
is,
pause.
it's like the year of Ninja Gaiden, right? We're getting 2
It
Ninja
is.
Gaiden games.
It really is, yeah. So Xbox had their presentation today. I was like, we gotta watch it because there's one. I saw Expedition 33 like teasing that they might have something there. I was like, okay. And then they said that there was going to be a Japanese studio there that has like decades worth of work that is adored by fans. And I'm like, who the heck is that? So they start off the presentation and it's like it's got the little squares and it's like, here's South of Midnight, here's Doom, and it zooms right into the question mark and it's like Team Ninja. What the heck is going on? And yeah, they announced a new Ninja Gaiden 4, which is a collaboration between Team Ninja and Platinum Games.
Which is weird
Hoggers.
because I thought everybody left Platinum Games.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Just, that was, Inaba. And it might have been a few, but yeah, I think it got headlines, but Platinum's still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the trailer looked good, and you're playing
I think he left.
2
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
which looks awesome.
Yeah, so they were like, yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4, it's coming out in fall. We're like, okay, woo! And then they're like, that's not it. And then they showed they have a remaster of Ninja Gaiden 2. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
It's the best one.
It's
in my
been
opinion.
remastered in Unreal Engine 5. So it looks
Yeah.
beautiful. And this is a game from
does
like
look good.
2008.
Dude,
It
how
looks
cool
really, really good.
is
Actually-
that Wolf fight gonna be? The one in the Coliseum where
That's
after
the
you
one
kill
that
him,
I'm almost
everyone-
at there.
yeah, they all start to flood the stage. This is so good, man.
I've
And
never
how
played it.
beautiful
That was
the
cool.
end of that game, I think visually beautiful. When you get in the tall like reeds and grass, very like Japan at sunset kind of vibes. I love
Yeah.
that game.
I'm excited to see it in 4K.
4K
Yeah.
glory. And then we also
And-
have announced at the Game Awards, we have that 2D Ninja Gaiden.
Yep, by
lot
the
of Ninja Gaiden this year.
blasphemous devs. Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, correction. Inaba is actually the CEO now. I had that backwards. The other CEO had stepped down. And anyway, that's all still happening. But yeah, it's just huge year for Ninja Gaiden. And to remind, it's been like 10 years
It has.
over since Ninja Gaiden 3, which, by the way, around that era, Ninja Gaiden not doing so well. And that might be, like, it was just poorly reviewed, poorly executed, didn't really get much love, basically back since Ninja Gaiden 2.
Mm.
And so that's what's so
Okay.
exciting.
So how do I get Ninja Gaiden 2, this remaster? What's it on? Is it on Steam or
On Steam, Xbox Game Pass, and PlayStation.
it's on Game Pass?
It is on Game Pass. Yep. And the new one's going to be on Game
Ooh.
Pass too.
Game Pass having a good
Ooh.
few months.
Yeah,
Okay.
very much so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never really played a lot of Ninja Gaiden as anyone. As a
But-
kid back in the
that's what-
day. No, never
Yeah.
played it.
And that's why Ninja
My-
Gaiden 2 Black is such a great. It's so great to hear because that's like one of the best Ninja Gaidens. Like, you wouldn't want to hear that they're remaking 3. Trust me. I mean, I'm sure there's some people, but
Yeah, it's been really, really, really good so far. It's been really fun. And Koei Tecmo was super nice and gave me a PlayStation code and a PC code to give away on stream today. So that was awesome.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, cool.
Heck
Been
yeah.
a fun day.
That game
Nice.
was heckin' banned at the university. I went to a private Christian
Oh,
university,
really?
and they had like a
Oh,
list of
yeah.
banned video games. So what I did was I went to Lowe's, I bought cinder blocks, and I put them. I had my roommate help me lift the bed up, and we put the cinder blocks under the bed, and then I draped my comforter down so it was elevated just enough, and I had a secret cave underneath my bed where I had a 32-inch LCD screen TV, and I
Oh
played
my
Ninja
God.
Gaiden 2 hiding under my bed.
Were there like
my
Kid you
God.
not. I got yes. So they would do surprise. I kid you not. They would do surprise rune checks, and I had I went and I bought all these body pillows. You remember those gamer pillows that have little armrests?
Oh,
And
yeah,
I'd
I got
be
one
laying
for
down
Watch
in
for
there.
Christmas one year.
That's just, oh yeah, man. There I am,
Wait,
by day
it's just-
training to
was
be a
this like
pastor,
boarding
by
school?
night chopping off heads in Ninja Gaiden 2.
That's so good.
Yeah.
is this boarding school? Is it? Is that what
No,
it
it's
is?
an actual university. Yeah.
Actual university.
At a
Why was it
university.
banned?
Wait, so how old
Banned.
were you?
Blood and gore, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, so basically almost all M-rated games were just immediately on the no list. They had
No
some
kidding.
small exceptions, but they definitely banned Halo 3 because they were having so much problems with students skipping class to do
Oh,
lanternies that they were ruining their grades, so they just flat out banned it. Definitely was my
Wow.
room was the hot spot where people came. They knew that they could go under the bed in our secret
it was
little
the
cave.
illegal place.
Yeah.
Did it ever get discovered?
Some dirty stuff happens under TV's
No.
bed.
No,
Yeah, I was like, if
because no
anybody-
one will everyone kept the secret because they wanted to be able to play. Even Oblivion was
Yeah.
banned, and people wanted to come and they wanted to play Oblivion. You know, the old Scrolls
Yeah.
games.
But that's the funny. If anybody discovered it, a TV under your bed, there's no the first thing they would think is not that you're playing video games under there. at all.
Yeah, it's it's not what you think. It's not what you think.
It would have been amazing. You're like, no, I was just playing Ninja Gaiden. They're like, well,
You
that's so
don't
bad, but I don't
understand.
believe you. What were you doing under that bed?
There was a lot of dismemberment, so
Yeah,
like
there
the
was.
whole mechanic of the game is like chopping off limbs and then doing a finishing attack on
Yeah.
them. so-
Yeah. Actually, Watson,
Mm.
I can't remember, but in my recollection, and even with 2 and Ninja Gaiden Black, it just has always had it's such a fast game, and usually you're in close quarters that the camera would present a lot of issues. Did you have any camera issues or notice?
Yes.
Is it improved?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah. The camera
the
is
same.
still yeah.
Camera
Yeah.
issues
Authentic.
still there.
Yeah, yeah. The
Still
camera is
2008's
still 2000. Yeah.
All right.
I can't even remember. Do you control the camera in that game, or is it
You do
one of those old
control
school,
it.
it
If you
follows
want.
Yeah, yeah, you can control it. You can also just let it fly. I think it does help that it is in a high frame rate,
Yeah.
and so it makes it a little bit. I think you can deal with the camera better. The camera feels better because you have a high frame rate to deal with it.
Yeah,
There
you
was
just gotta
one
remember if
fight-
you.
I don't know if it was that game or the first game where you had to fight 3 guys on motorcycles, and really the battle was with the camera. It was
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
so frustrating.
totally. But I think it's important that I think one, it's awesome that they did this. But 2, remember when you play an older game that's remastered, remade, whatever, that's just how it was then, and it was still one of the best games of the time.
Oh yeah.
But just be mindful that it's not it's a brand new Unreal Engine
Not
5
a brand
game.
new game. No.
I think it's awesome that they did that.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah, how far did they go with the graphics?
Oh, it looks incredible.
Yeah,
It looks really, really good.
that's great.
It's very, very good looking. Yeah, I was impressed.
and that was
having
just
it's been such
stealth
a good
drop?
day.
They're just
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
play
Shadow
it?
drop.
They're like Ninja Gaiden, so I was shaking, texting Koei Tecmo. Not texting, I was DMing. I don't have their personal phone number. I'm not like,
Hello. It's just Mr. Koei
hello.
Tecmo.
Just tap him on the shoulder. Mr. Koei Tecmo is sitting on the couch
Hey,
next to you
this-
watching the announcement.
John, go.
Hello. It was just because they started with the mystery thing. I did not expect them to start with the mystery thing. And I wasn't expecting it to be Team Ninja. And I wasn't expecting it to be Ninja Gaiden 4 after 10 years. And then they have Platinum Games with them. And then they're like, oh yeah, also Ninja Gaiden 2 Black remaster with Unreal Engine graphics. You can play it now. Like, what the fudge is going on? Honestly, the
great.
Xbox presentation was banging. It was so good.
That's good. They need one. They need a good,
Yeah.
powerful.
Oh,
I
just-
highly recommend you watch maybe even individually the different things, because I also really like how they did the format, because they had the developers there in their studio talking about their game, and then they showed a ton of new gameplay. You got to know more about the game, not just like the developers talking about it. And then they all got their release dates dropped. So it was really fun. So
And 4 is
yeah.
fall of this year.
Fall of this year, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Mhm.
definitely playing through Ninja Gaiden 2 Black.
It's really fun.
Yeah, I think I might do that now. You've convinced me. Next
Do
week.
it. Yeah,
Well,
do it. Just
make sure you
understand
circle
you
back
are,
and let us
remember,
know what you think.
2008 camera. Just
See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Don't- But still, like a stellar game. Like I
It's
think
really
it's so
fun.
awesome they did it.
It's
Yeah.
very
really,
good.
What,
really, really.
what should
really
I expect as someone who hasn't really played the series? I think I've actually ever played it.
We were talking about this on stream earlier. I think if you've never played Ninja Gaiden, it's comparable to like a Devil May Cry.
I was gonna say
1
Devil
or
May Cry?
3. Yeah, Devil
Okay.
May Cry like 1 or 3. Yeah.
Because I still remember, I've got the Devil May Cry PlayStation 2 somewhere. I think
Really?
I've kept that. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love to
Wow.
see that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
I'll be able to find it for you. when
Did
we
you?
have a-
Was
when
that
we have
your
a-
original PlayStation 2?
Yep.
It was.
Yeah. Okay, I remember the PlayStation 2. I think I actually got rid of my box now, which I regret. The PlayStation 2 box, used to have like games you could play on PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And Devil May Cry was on the box. And yeah, I think Mum and Dad got me Devil May Cry with the PlayStation 2. And I remember playing it on Christmas, I think. Like, oh my God, this is so cool. Just like uppercutting demons and juggling them in the air.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Those games were cool.
Yeah, okay. They're kind of like Devil May Cry with ninjas
Yeah.
and more gore
It's just
and
like it's
dismemberment.
yeah. It's just famous for how fast and furious like ninja action it is and kind of at the time getting you as close to kind of feeling like you're just this super powered ninja. But just
But it's also not
chopping
easy.
your way through
It's
a
not
dojo.
easy. It is.
No,
it
it's
is-
brutal.
Yeah.
And there will be a bit of a learning curve, especially coming from like other third-person action games to this one, because you don't dodge with like a dodge button, like circle. You're dodging by like holding block and moving the thumbstick. So it's a little different, but when you get used to it, which won't take you very long, it's very fun.
I can't remember if well, I think Ninja Gaiden Black had the leaderboard. Do you know if this is a leaderboard in it? Like there would be speedrun style there was a
I don't know if
leaderboard.
there's a
Yeah.
leaderboard.
But that's how
actually.
like hardcore it is and was. So I would assume that it has something like that in it too, but I don't know if that's
Oh, and to clarify, because Nish asked this, this is the Sigma version of Ninja Gaiden 2, which I learned because I was in the water area, the aqueduct, and normally there's a chest on a pillar that has a key in it. And I'm walking around, I'm like, there's no goddamn chest. What's going on?
Sigma
Like,
mean?
am I
Is that
losing
like
it?
the hard mode? Was that like a second
It's
release
like
of
a
the game?
remaster
It's
of
Gen
it.
Z speak, man.
Yeah, I know.
I was like
know.
Sigma. I was like,
I know,
oh God,
it's Sigma,
Bryce
I know.
falling for Sigma.
I know.
Sigma.
I know. Yeah. No, it's Ninja Gaiden. Ooh.
The Ninja
Look at
Gaiden
that.
May
games.
Cry.
That's
PlayStation
Devil May
2.
Cry.
DMC. So good. That's wait,
With
that's
Book in
Devil
there
May
and everything.
Cry. That's the
Beautiful.
that's the
Yeah,
original Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Nice.
Man,
Did you
those
ever play
books used to go so
DMC?
hard.
Mylon? Did you ever play DMC?
These are the only other two PlayStation games that
Oh,
kept
Red
Burnout.
Faction, man.
Man,
and
those
Red
are some
Faction.
good ones though.
Mylon, do you
good.
know? Hey, I got a fun fact for you. Burnout 2, if you look at the credits, I'm in it.
Are you?
Because I gave them so much feedback. I was in
Oh,
love with
wow.
Burnout and Burnout 2, which it was, at the time probably would have been best that I wasn't, but they just were nice enough to put me in the credits. Should still be
Well,
in there
that's
somewhere.
You're
nice.
famous, dude.
It's just like a
Fran is
special thing.
famous.
So funny.
Nate's gonna find a PlayStation 2 and Burnout 2.
I spent
Yeah.
It's
so many
like-
hours with friends in the crash mode of those games where you just
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
Oh
yeah.
my
you
god.
just have like these
Yes.
like intersections and you had to like time like the biggest crash
Yeah.
that you could cause and it went like
Dude.
slow motion. Oh man.
That was so good.
Fran, I gotta ask, like when you go to a bar and you see a cute girl, you ever sit down and be like, hey,
Hey.
you might recognize me, I don't know. It's in the credits of Burnout too.
I
Yeah,
made
totally.
video.
You know,
on
I
the
haven't-
I'd go
internet.
home with
I'm
you.
responsible for that.
Check. Well, I believe it was.
I mean, I might need to try that at this point. That's what I'm thinking. Good
Were you
tip.
listed as Frankie 2 times?
Yeah, exactly. Frankie 2 crashes.
Back to Ninja Gaiden real quick. Does anybody know off the top of their head the sequence of the naming convention of the Ninja Gaiden games, because even having lived through it, I was completely confused at the time. It was Ninja Gaiden Black, Ninja Gaiden 2,
X.
X. What was X?
I don't know, but it exists.
Oh.
I don't know what the. I'm reading it now. I don't know. This was released in Japan on mobile platforms as a prequel to the first NES title in 2004, according to Wikipedia.
Oh.
See,
Dude,
I thought you were
it's
making a
confusing.
joke, Briar, because I
What?
thought it was 1, 2, 3, 4.
No.
I mean,
They had a bunch of them.
Yeah, there are a bunch of
Right.
them, but there's only 3 that are
Yeah,
out that are like main Ninja Gaiden.
exactly.
This is like a Monster Hunter scenario.
No, to your question, it is simple. There is only Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Gaiden 2, Ninja Gaiden 3,
Yeah.
and coming to 4. But
Coming 4.
they did like iteration adaptation of stuff within there.
And then were there different
Oh,
names on
right.
PlayStation and
I-
Xbox as well?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay.
I think Black is the remaster remake edition to, you already had
I
Ninja
think so,
Gaiden
yeah,
2.
yeah.
Like this is as I recall, this is the first Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, because they already
Yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden Black, but
Yeah.
now so Black is that they do have that nomenclature.
It's
for
like
that.
they're upgrading Ultimate
Yeah.
Edition.
But I don't know what Sugma was about. That's a good question. Ninja Gaiden Sugma 2. Sugma 2.
That's
yeah,
what
I
Fran
don't
says
remember
at
that.
bars. That's what he actually says.
It is.
You can Sugma too.
Yeah. But yeah, it's confusing. And then they, I had forgotten this, that they made, Ninja Gaiden 3, it was like 2012, I guess. And then there was that Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z.
I
And
remember
that's
that.
like a tune shaded, like kind of, it was a mess. Now,
Yeah.
again, at the time, it was unfortunate. It really went out on a bad note. And like maybe that was part of this where they're like we're not going to do this until we figure out what is Ninja Gaiden 4. And that really is effectively what happened outside of
10 years
they
later.
did the Master Collection, which I didn't check out. And that would be another question. I don't know if you had come across this, Watts, with like what is Ninja Gaiden Master Collection again? Because it has Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and like how is that different than? I guess it's not Ninja Gaiden 2. There's Ninja Gaiden Sigma and Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. It does get confusing, and I don't remember the differences.
Played
Well, I'm glad we
Ninja Gaiden
clarified
2 Black.
Yeah,
It's good.
it's years ahead.
Great.
Yeah.
And it looks beautiful. And it's very, very fun. Before we move off of Xbox presentation, could we talk about the other stuff that was news?
The Wish news?
Xbox presentation.
Yeah.
Expedition 33.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We
I
got
saw the
more
trailer.
gameplay for it, which looks nutty.
What's this game? I've never heard of this one.
So this is a French game that they're basically trying to make a JRPG that's kind of Persona vibes, but taken in like a different angle from like a French studio.
Okay.
So they've got like crazy voice talent on it. It's got the music and like the menus that you'd come to love from like a Persona game.
Yeah,
But they're doing
different
their own kind of thing.
different
Very
Briar, we
artistic
talked
different.
about
style.
this. We've
Very
brought
But
this
like-
up on the show before, Briar.
Yes, but I'm very old and my memory is going.
I feel that.
If it's not Street Fighter, he's not going to remember.
It looks really, really, really good. And it got a release date, which is April 24th
Oh, that's right around the
Yeah.
corner.
or 28th,
Soon.
That's not far at all.
something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
April
Expedition
24th.
33.
It's very, very, very
And
cool.
and the
The
kind of
voice cast
storyline
was
is just like mysterious demigod leaves a number on a mountain and everyone is that age dies. Something like
Yeah,
that.
we're all dead. All of us. We're done for.
Oh.
Because it's
Yeah,
Expedition
33.
33. So
Rip us.
we're dead.
If
Yeah.
you're over 33,
Yeah, we had a
you're
good
dead.
run.
Well, at least we don't have to
You know
fight
what?
in the war.
Time to hit the old dusty trail.
Yeah.
Well, the main character, I was like, brother, you've been lying about your age. You look older than 33. What's going on there? You've had a hard life.
Oh, it does seem like a hard life.
Oh, it's coming out the same day
does.
as Garou, City of the Wolves.
It's
I'm
funny that
playing
it's
Garou.
I don't
I
know
think
what that is.
everybody's calling it Expedition 33, which it is, but I think it's Clair Obscur
It's Clair Obscur.
Expedition
yeah.
33.
Yeah.
And
That's
like it's
because
one of those
Clair Obscur is like a weird thing no one
No.
can think or
Claire
remember
doesn't
or
have
say.
an E and Obscure doesn't have an E because they're French, and that's why I
Yes,
think
yeah.
everybody's like
Expedition
We're not
33.
saying Clair
We're
Obscur.
not saying that. We
Is
don't,
It's
that-
Expedition
I
33.
don't want to fudge it up.
Is that the full name? Is it like the full French name?
Clair Obscur, Expedition 33.
Can we just call it
Yeah,
colon?
nah.
Yeah, so it looks really good. They also have like we heard some more music, which sounds incredible. The customization for each of the characters looks nutty. Like they were saying that one person run in their studio runs this character as like a protector kind of class, whereas a lot of people run them as a glass cannon class. So you can be wildly different. And then they also introduced us to some like whimsical characters, because I think a lot of the things with JRPGs that makes them so fun is that they deal with like dark and serious stuff, but you always have that like funny,
That
comical,
levity, yeah.
silly. Yeah. And they seem to really get that for this game. So I am excited.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
smallish team too, I think. So yeah, it'd be really
It
interesting
is pretty
to see.
small.
Most important question: can you romance?
Mhm.
I don't know.
Because I didn't cover that, and I was waiting because it's
know.
adult themes.
You want to romance Claire?
Maybe.
Obscurely?
I'm gonna romance Obscure
I
personally.
want to romance the colon.
I mean, you know, everyone's at least.
That's
Interesting.
Romancing the colon. Briar.
And yeah, I was asking this too because I'm like, well, I wonder what the price point is. It looks like it's a $50 game.
It is
I'm sorry if you
$50,
already
yeah.
mentioned that.
it's not a full price game.
So yeah,
And
I
it's on
mean,
Game
again,
Pass. Day one too.
more of that.
Man, Game Pass coming up big. Okay, what else came
Yeah.
out for Xbox? Or what else has come for Xbox?
The
Oh man,
Doom.
Doom.
Oh,
Doom the
man.
Dark
you mentioned
Ages.
Dark
Yeah.
Ages.
I was watching the developer interviews
God.
about this. This game, I loved
so good.
Doom 2016. It was probably my favorite game of like that year. But Doom, not Eternal. Is it
Eternal.
Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't love as much. It got away from the Doom formula, I thought, in so many ways that I just kind of like, it lost me a little bit. Also, the story was so kind of weird and obscure that it just didn't capture me like 2016 did. But it really sounds like they're trying to get back to what made 2016 so special. Really, like, you're on the ground more. It's going to be more simpler controls, and the story is going to be right there in your face being told, like, in the game and with cutscenes as opposed to inside a codex. I got really excited for this. This looks cool.
Yeah, that out of everything, I still have to look more into it. But what struck me the most is when they said that they're like in what'd they say in Doom Eternal or whatever? What you were a jet fighter, but
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
want to return to our roots and like bring back more of that strafing. And you're a tank in Doom: The Dark Ages, and
You
they
are,
show
yeah.
you slower, but it's still a fast game. But like, I love that description that you're a tank in this one versus
Yeah.
whatever that was. You
It
know,
seemed like a
sounds
big
exciting.
emphasis on some melee stuff too, and like parrying and countering, and then like the flail looks
Switching
really
to the
cool.
flail.
The
Yeah.
skull gun. Did
Yeah.
you guys see the skull gun where you load it with the skulls of your enemy and it grinds them up and shoots the shards back at them? That's cool.
So
Yeah.
cool, man.
That's
I
pretty
saw the
cool.
comment on that, but I actually didn't really see where it was. I have to go back and watch it.
It's literally got like a grinder, like
It's a
almost like a rock
grinder.
grinder on the top of the gun, and it's grinding up a skull and like shooting the shards out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
love
This
it.
is
They're
like, you
definitely gonna
know,
ban that one at TV's college.
I mean, this is the flat. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, this is id Software's flagship game. You got to remember, like, everything they built their engine around and all was born out of this, and like, so it's always. I feel like Doom is always really good. They've got it in a good spot. But yeah, I agree. Like the way they're talking about this and like the style, it looks like it's gonna be one of the best games of the year. Actually,
Yeah, the aesthetics too are really just
and
very cool.
And I just have to throw. I also loved that it was, you know, a developer direct that was not about live service elements and battle passes and all that. Like, you know me, you know, screaming at the clouds about that stuff all the time. But so refreshing to just say, oh, it's just going to be an absolutely kick-ass Doom.
Did they give a release
No
date?
multiplayer.
No notes.
They did.
That's but
May
see, that's
15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
May
it-
15th release
is-
date.
as much as I would love PvP and all that, and like that is definitely built into Doom and Quake and all that. But just like that was one of my favorite parts of Space Marines. Like they just had this contained campaign, and it
The
was
game was so
beautiful
good.
and epic. And you know, they didn't make me do all this live service stuff. They give you one thing where it's like, go check it out, and then like you don't have to do it if you don't want. And I thought that's a great formula. It's not that stuff can't be great on its own
Yeah.
right, but man, just self-contained, kick-ass
here,
campaign.
here, pay this price tag, get a complete game, enjoy the game as much as you want. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes I miss that formula as well. So I totally understand what you're saying there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
They
not going to
also-
say to finish that off. It's not like I wouldn't play live servicey stuff like Space Marines did in the Doom world. It's just like you never want it to detract from the quality of hopefully what this is.
Yeah, they also
Yep.
had some accessibility stuff they showed, like
They did.
increasing the parry window, so to make it a bit easier or harder to parry, and even like the speed of the game.
That
which
was
Mhm.
crazy.
I was
There
like,
was a
oh, you wanna
slider
go
that
quick?
decreases the speed
Cool.
or ups the speed of the game.
That's cool. That's like playing
Crazy.
Street Fighter on the Super Nintendo, where they just like bump up the speed of the game.
yeah. You want to
Like
go fast? Go fast.
Remember playing GoldenEye on turbo mode?
Yeah.
The turbo,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
Just
really
Fly
fast.
through the levels.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss
yeah,
those
so
like
they-
those like they're not cheats. They were like Easter eggs in games, right? It's like big head
Modifiers,
mode
yeah.
and
Modifiers, yeah.
modifiers. Yeah,
I used to love doing that stuff. I used to
Yeah, heck
love
yeah.
doing GoldenEye and getting all the cheat codes. It was so good.
Oh, for sure. Well,
my
and then
buddy
like
had a
the amount
NASCAR
of freedom
game on
you
the
have.
PlayStation that you could shoot bowling balls out of the front of your car, so it became like a combat
Why not?
NASCAR game. Unbelievable.
Why not?
fun. Way more fun.
Yeah,
than
well, that's the
regular
thing.
NASCAR.
You create a ton of replayability because you can play the same game in such a different way.
Yeah.
Mm. So this is a prequel, right? This is a prequel to 2016 Doom, from what I understand.
Mhm.
Okay.
And like story-wise, so they're kind of saying this is a good time to jump in, which I always think is a smart strategy for any franchise like that. Like you can jump in and kind of get an understanding of Doom and where it's going. But if you're a fan of 2016, like you should be able to put things together. I think is what they're saying, like with how it goes into 2016 story. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And
That's
the
right around
shield,
corner, too.
the chain shield is such a cool
Yeah.
weapon. You think like, oh, how are they gonna like one up all their previous Doom weapons, and feels like the shield is a pretty integral part to like the whole combat system, right? To get people kind of into that slow down melee range, blocking, parrying kind of deal.
You know, it didn't even occur to me, Mylin, until you point out that it's got a prequel, is that a lot of the time you're in 2016, like you're getting references to this like this legend of the Doomslayer. And like you kind of don't really know what they're referring to, and now maybe this is gonna be that story. That's kind of neat, actually.
Yeah, so I don't know enough about the lore of 2016 or any of the Doom franchises, so I don't quite know how it fits together. But I'm keen to like jump in and I guess start at the beginning, with this one, and go from there. The other thing I forgot, they got mechs.
There's a mech
Yeah.
There's a mech
and a dragon.
and a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. A mechanized dragon of some
I
sort.
like
yeah.
both of those things.
Yep.
Now I'm sold.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be in a giant mech and fight giant demons. And then there was like a flying section with basically a Digimon because it was a Pokemon with guns.
Digital
Pal World.
dragon.
Let's go.
Yeah, basically power, just a Gatling gun on a dragon.
Yeah.
You fly around shooting stuff. Should be
I
cool.
love it.
So what,
Dope.
May. Release in
And
May, is
then
that right?
May 15th is when is it? Yeah, May 15th is the release date for that. And then the last game that they had there was South of Midnight, which is like the stop motion action game that takes place in like Louisiana. So they're using all of the lore and culture of the South and the music, and I'm definitely gonna give it a try because it like anytime we have a more unique kind of looking game, I want to give it a
Yeah.
try, and especially when it's using things that we don't normally get to see in video games like culture and music and stuff.
Yeah, I
This
love
one's called
the
South
Big
of
Easy
Midnight? Is that what
culture.
it's called?
It's got that whole like
South of
voodoo
Midnight, yeah.
vibes.
It does, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah, it's really
Kind of-
cool.
It was kind of, what did you think of the stop animation? Because I don't know how I feel about it, like the effect they're putting out. I like all the other art style of it, but at first I was like, are we just missing frames or is this intentional when I first started watching it?
I
And
think
then I
it
was
looks
like, oh no, this is like an intentional thing that they're going for. I was like,
I think it looks cool. I do know that for gameplay, they have an option of you turning it off if it like bothers you. But then the cutscenes will just be it would just be cutscenes that's stop animation.
Right. Because I like how everything else looked, and I don't know if it quite hit the mark. Because I can see what they're going for. Because someone's like, "Oh, it's a bit like Spideyverse kind of style, right?" And I was like, I can see that, but I don't know if it quite works yet. It might be different when it's different. Also, watching a video than it is probably playing the game as well, because you're gonna be losing some there as well.
And that
But
also
in
got a
general,
release
I'm
date.
keen to give it a shot. It sounded like a good story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
protagonist is interesting. The whole environment is interesting. The whole like swampy, kind of with mist over the water kind of a vibe. Yeah, I dig that whole
Yeah.
aesthetic. So, and like you said, when something full sends on its culture and its unique setting, I think that elevates a game in a way. Because a lot of games out there just kind of look like copy paste environments sometimes.
They're
and
very similar, yeah.
yeah.
We've seen this before. When did we see this? Was this at
You've
the
been
Game
seeing it for a
Awards?
while. It was
Yeah, they announced
probably
the Game Awards last year, didn't they?
Oh, okay.
it's been a while, yeah. It might have been. Yeah, I think it was.
I think it was.
Yeah, this has got a cool look. I might be with you, Mylin. I might have to turn off the stop motion during gameplay.
I'll try
Yeah.
anything once.
Yeah, I'll
Give it a
try it.
shot.
I'll try it for sure.
I'll definitely try, because I'm right on the fence, to be honest with it.
Yeah,
I think
me
it
too.
might be better when you're playing it yourself.
I'll give someone the opportunity to make it work first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it works for me in the cutscenes for sure.
Yeah,
But I don't know if
agree.
it's gonna work for me in the gameplay. We'll see.
Mhm.
I'll definitely check it out though.
And that's coming out April 8th. So I was
Damn,
also
man.
really happy to see them filling out like April and May. Because currently there's nothing in there. And like February and March are packed. So it was good.
Right.
Good to see.
What? You're still gonna be playing Monster Hunter. Why do you want April and May to have anything
I'll be
else?
playing that next year.
I will be playing
Yeah,
it for
watch
the
your-
next 7 years.
Your 2025 is booked. South of Midnight, I believe, right, was the only exclusive in here.
Oh, that's an Xbox exclusive?
Yeah. Well, not because of PC. Everything they do is on PC, but console
Yeah.
exclusive, I believe.
Console.
It was also interesting that actually they listed Xbox, PC, and PS5 on like all of those trailers. So normally if it's an Xbox showcase or a PlayStation showcase, they never normally do that,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
even if it is available.
That is interesting.
Yeah, I think like that's what I was thinking about, Watts. Like their strategy, as we know, they're just like, look, like Xbox is about Game Pass and experiencing our ecosystem, and we'll see how all that evolves and cloud but yeah, it's like it's still the DNA of what Xbox Developer Direct was. I thought came across nicely. Like this is what Xbox Game Studios wants to be. It doesn't matter as much which platforms it's hitting. It's that these are the games they care the most about. They want to, obviously push this out, and there'll be stuff on Game Pass that is part of that sort of brand of Xbox games, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I really liked the format. I really did. Getting to see the devs introduce their games and talk about the game, get new gameplay, get little information about it and new trailers and release dates. It was good.
Yep. Yeah, because like the
liked
the
it.
contrast is they could have they probably already had said Doom the Dark Ages was coming to every platform, but it's a Bethesda game. They could have pulled the Starfield, and thank goodness, we're not seeing that. So now we just
this
need
is going to be
we
the
just
last
need-
Xbox.
a lot of people ask that. I still believe a handheld. It's funny that I was talking about that a long time ago, if you remember, and then there's been a lot of rumors. I mean, I think it's an obvious one to guess. I still think that's a strategy that they are thinking about for Xbox, of like sort of do what Switch 2 is doing, but I think also in the PC way, they'll still have that home console as like their Amazon Echo, as it were, as well as like, and we have the handheld version. I feel like they still want that, and they want to push Windows, and like, or Xbox running on Windows, and like I feel like that's still going to happen.
We'll
And I
see.
believe the rumors are saying that they're working on all of that, so it's just a ways out.
Okay.
I was going to say like this. I'm always going to bring up though. I'm like, because I thought about it this week with Prince of Persia, but like these games need cross progression at least. Like whether or not I have to buy it again on say Switch 2, some of these, or I played it on Xbox Series X when it launched, but now I'm like, I got a PlayStation Pro. Just putting that out there again. But by the way, Prince of Persia has cross progression. So when it comes, I just realized, I'm like, when this comes to Switch 2, you can just pick it up. Oh, I'm so excited. I still hope they do like a new, like I said, let's put Ganondorf in the game like we talked about, Briar. But
Yeah.
it occurred to me, I was like, oh, I can play this. I don't have to like start over.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
You know, at the very beginning of the presentation, they were saying all of these games are coming out on Game Pass, and they're cross-play and cross-progression.
That's
So
amazing.
I don't know if they mean between like Xbox and PC Xbox, or if they mean across like all the platforms that they're out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because I missed that, but I would be shocked if I'm gonna
I would
look
be
at that
shocked
again.
too, but yeah, give it a look, because I saw that and I was like, oh,
I'm gonna
Fran would
ask
be
him.
happy. Fran would wishes he was awake right now, watching us.
God.
He'd be cheering.
Yeah.
I got to play Assassin's Creed Shadows.
How was it?
Oh,
Yeah. So,
I've heard that's been the response.
No, I thought it was really
Huh?
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to what other people have been saying. I actually be interested in what Fran said from his voiceover that he
I
did.
did it. Yeah, we'll explain that later.
You'll explain
I
that,
read
yeah.
someone's preview, but maybe before your impressions, Watts, can you set up like where you fit into the
Yes.
Assassin's Creed experience? And
I've only played like the first one. None of the others have really interested me in terms of like a player fantasy or like where they take place. Haven't really interested me. But I was invited. I'll just do the setup too. I was invited to play it for about 4 hours. It was played through like remote play, so there was input lag. And we got to play the prologue with like a little bit of a tutorial. And then we got boosted to like level 25. I think it's like 5 hours after the prologue to experience like a portion of the map and some quests.
Surely remote play is like one of the worst ways for you to experience a game with input lag.
It's not great, and using Parsec would be better.
was it not Parsec?
No.
Oh, so you've used both. You felt like it had a little more lag than
yeah.
Parsec would. Oh,
Yeah,
that's too bad.
but I will say, even with that, the parries still felt good. It still felt responsive even then. So I was like, okay, you know.
Yeah. But
Yes.
overall was like seemed okay to you, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so I was actually so first of all, there's a setting that I really like, and if you have watched Shogun, you will probably also really like this setting, because for languages there is an immersive setting. So anytime the Portuguese are talking, they're speaking in Portuguese. Anytime someone
Oh.
who's Japanese is speaking, it's in Japanese. So that was really cool. I loved that. Yes.
And related to that, Watts,
Yeah.
as I read, and we'll explain,
Yeah.
I thought an immersion mode for selecting choices in dialogue, and then
So there's
a was
immersive
that
mode, and then there's like a canon mode.
right?
So a lot of people were apparently a lot of feedback from other Assassin's Creeds is people were like, yeah, but what's like the actual story? Because you have all these choices. Like, what's the canon story of Assassin's Creed? So they do actually have a setting that you can turn on right at the beginning where you will play as Yasuke Onaue for the like whatever is canon in the story during those segments, and all of the like answers that you give to questions will be the canon answers.
Sure.
That's cool.
That's
though.
interesting.
That's kind of
Yeah.
cool.
It's a cool setting. It's good.
I don't know
But
if I'd
that's
play
different.
it that way. I don't know if I would or not, actually. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, play it twice.
If
'cause
it was
two
like a
characters.
full blown RPG, I wouldn't. But if Assassin's Creed, I might.
Yeah.
You know, because the Assassin's Creed games I played, I haven't played a ton of them either. The last one I played was Valhalla, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't play it because I was like, yeah, I really want to develop my own character. I was just like, nah, man, I want to mess some stuff up, be a Viking fighter, and I
Mhm.
want to customize my longhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where like Assassin's Creed it's in such an interesting area, and I'm very curious to check this one out because it went from the traditional Assassin's Creed, as you knew, jumping down from the rooftop into like a pile of hay and sneaking around and stabbing someone in the neck and then sneaking into some meeting inside the cathedral, and then like it turned, as you know, people actually really dug Origins in Valhalla. I don't know if you played both TV, but they're like huge, right, sprawling.
Yeah.
Action RPG, like with all these side quests and like a big world essentially too, right?
Yeah, so this map is definitely still big because it's an Assassin's Creed, but it's not as big as ones have been. So it's a little bit smaller.
What was the
more
one that was in
contained.
Greece?
Is that Odyssey?
Odyssey. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That was
That
awesome.
one was huge. That map was gigantic.
Okay, so
It-
what did you think? Can you talk more about it, or is this all?
Yeah, I showed gameplay. I have like 2.5 hours of gameplay that I can show. We showed it on stream earlier. I can't just like play it all out. I have to skip around a little bit, but I was able to show it. So I was really impressed with the prologue, which we couldn't record to show people because it's like pretty big story
right.
stuff. But just the way that they introduced like the characters and the setting and all of that was really well done. You do end up working together. Yasuke and Naoe end up working together to fight against stuff. But it initially starts with Yasuke is with Nobunaga setting a village like alight, and the village is Naoe's village. So you play both sides of that to see how
Oh,
that story
interesting.
kind of unfolds, which is really cool.
So do you go between the two characters, or do you?
Yeah,
choose?
so during open world, you can switch whenever. You just pull up your menu, hold down a button, and it switches to them, and it just changes character exactly where you were.
That's
Um,
weird.
it's cool. You just do whatever you want with that. For story missions, it asks who you want to play as, and then you're playing as that character for like that section of the story mission.
Right.
Are there like related levels and skills that would become confusing, or like that you would want to invest in one versus the other, or that you maybe saw? I don't know.
Maybe if you're like doing a super, I don't know. I think it would
Okay.
depend how you like to play, really, because it becomes very apparent very quickly what their strengths are. Like Yasuke is, you're gonna go in there and you get to just beat people up. You can be a little sneaky, like you don't have to just walk in and go hello. You can be a little sneaky, but he's super tanky. He can just stand there, parry, take people down. Like that's his thing. Naoe has like the grapple hook, so she can pull herself up to higher areas. She can flip around a lot more. Like an example is if you're playing as Yasuke and you're walking over a rope, he can break the rope and fall down.
Oh no.
Whereas Naoe can like go over all of these things.
Right.
Is she more
So
a
she's-
ninja and he's more a samurai?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they really do. And if Naoe gets hit, she takes so much damage.
Yeah.
So like you can fight face to face, toe to toe, but you're gonna have to make sure you're parrying and dodging everything.
How much
that.
of it was like there's a fort on a map and I gotta clear this fort to unlock like the area?
I didn't really do too much just straight up I'm gonna do open world things.
Yeah.
But I honestly didn't see any of that really. There was maybe one area that was a part of a story mission where you disable the bell and then you take down a target in that camp. But in open world, I prayed at a shrine. I gathered some stuff that you can like put in because you can create a whole kind of area, very Animal Crossing like. You can like build buildings and decorate them and put
Oh, you can make a little
cats
fort?
and foxes in there. Yeah, you can
Love that.
You can do all of that. And you can get things to customize that through just doing random things in the world. Another thing you can do is sneak up on animals and draw them. So I also did that. I snuck up on animals and drew pictures of them. That was great.
Not for
Can you kill
nefarious
them and eat
purposes. Just want to draw them.
No, you're drawing them. You're meditating and you're praying. And
Ghost of Tsushima kind of beat Assassin's Creed to the punch, right? With like the
yes.
the open world, like historical, like tourism of Japan. How does it feel compared to that? How does Japan feel compared to that?
Oh, the world is beautiful. I think like no matter who you are, you will play or see that game and go, Japan looks insanely gorgeous in like how they've done it. It's really, really pretty. There's particles everywhere and it's really beautiful. I think I prefer the gameplay of Ghost of Tsushima. They're actually quite similar because instead of having like the two ways that you can go with the ghost, being like honorable or dishonorable, you basically have that in two people. So Yasuke is going to be, the honorable, and then you have Naoe who's like assassinating people. But it's also, it might be the input delay because it does kind of mess up with you moving your character around. But Ghost of Tsushima is super slick and precise. Whereas I've always found with Assassin's Creed, like parkouring can sometimes feel a little inaccurate.
Sure, sure.
It's
So
been
you
getting
do
better over the years, but it's never
Yeah.
really.
And it is better. It is better for sure. Like now it has a ton of new parkour animations. So it definitely, I think that probably feels better than I felt it in many years.
So interesting to hear that because like they were really the purveyors of that almost, right? You're like, oh, this
Yeah.
is so cool. I'm parkouring over rooftops, and then like I just haven't played seriously in a while, and I love Ghost. But to hear you put it that way, I'm like, huh.
It's like
How'd
really
they-
ironic.
How'd they end up there if that's how, most folks feel?
Sure.
But hopefully Shadows is, you were also, do you think some of the delay in the gameplay feed
Definitely.
contributed to that? So
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
we'll have to
Yeah,
see.
definitely. It's hard to be precise when you're moving and you're like, it's not quite
Definitely.
happening when you push the stick.
Yeah, like that's gonna make it feel pretty squishy. So
I was gonna say it's funny. It's ironic that we're talking about Ghosts, and like as we're talking about it, and so I get a Steam notification. I don't know if you have these turned on. So like a friend of mine just fired it up and started playing Ghost of Tsushima in real time as we're talking about. It's like I didn't even remember the last time it said someone was playing Ghost of Tsushima on
Game
my
is so good.
notifications.
Yeah, I came away from it though being like, I think a lot of people are going to be really happy with this game. Like the prologue genuinely really impressed me, and the immersive language thing was really, really cool. The combat feels good. That like pairing feels very precise and feels good. Dodging feels good. The different weapons that you have are good. And the world is beautiful. So I think it's one of those things of like, if you want to be in Japan, then I think you'll probably get a lot out of the game because it's so beautiful.
Maybe
Nice.
it's
So do you
time
have
for a
any
rewatch of Shogun
criticisms?
and some Assassin's Creed.
It is, yeah. It's very Shogun because it's around the same period, right, where the
Love it.
Portuguese are there, and yeah.
Can't wait.
Any
I
any
like how they
criticisms
do
once?
the tourism, kind of like the historical tourism, where you can just kind of like wander around and see all this stuff that actually happened, and like it was really fun in Greece in Odyssey, and it was really fun in Egypt in Origins, and Japan. Everybody's wanted them to do a Japan since the
Yeah, they
beginning, so
have.
it'll be fun.
Criticisms.
Yes.
Honestly, it's the movement not feeling super precise. Like not feeling like I really always knew where I was gonna jump when I pressed the jump button or like hold down the parkour button. It's mostly that. But again, could be the input delay. But if I know that, people have said before that inaccurate kind of parkour is a thing that Assassin's Creed has had before. But the input delay certainly didn't make it any better. But yeah, and it can sometimes be a little difficult to tell if you're going to get hit by an enemy that's off camera.
Okay.
Especially
I wonder
with
if they'll have a
troops.
field of view.
Yeah, but I was really impressed with the game. It's unfortunate they're releasing it March 20th now because I will not be playing it. I might play it later this year. Later this year could work out if there's like
Maybe.
a downtime.
Is there any chance? Actually, did they say Ghost was 2025 or no?
It is, yeah. They
yeah.
said 2025.
Like maybe you can
yeah.
play them both back to back somehow. Like get in the mood.
What?
Yeah,
what's
I
the name
haven't
of that one?
seen
Ghost
much
of what?
more. I just
Ghosts of Yote.
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 oh yeah.
Yote.
I saw a couple YouTube thumbnails just saying like don't recommend Assassin's Creed Shadows kind of deal, but I haven't watched them yet. So interesting
I
hearing your
want to
thoughts.
watch
And then I might,
Skill Up.
yeah, Skill Up's one I might want to watch.
I would like to watch his.
See
What
I tend to
did
agree
your
with him like 9
guy-
out of 10
Oh.
times.
What did your guy think, Fran? So, context, Fran was asked to do the voiceover for a video about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, it's just someone who they create previews and stuff like that, and we're doing a YouTube video, and it's someone who comes in my chat a lot and has been around. And anyway, I was like, yeah, I'd love to help out. They had a sore throat, and I haven't done it. But anyway, so through that lens, I was like reading somebody's impressions,
right.
as I did the VO, and yeah, what I walked away with was it was a couple folks. I forget the name actually of the outlet now. Like I know the name of the guy in chat, Wheelie Average, but anyway, it was two people's impressions. Mainly
Okay.
from this guy Jordan's viewpoint. But yeah, it was mostly positive. They were fans of previous games, and it was very much like about Ubisoft trying to strike more of a balance, between sort of where it's been, but making things a bit more like fun and accessible. But that overall in its preview state, and it's hard to say that they seemed optimistic about where it was headed. And they felt like, playing the two different characters, really, there was quite a difference.
There was a huge difference, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm getting the impression that if you're a fan of Assassin's Creed, from some of what I've read about and heard, is that it'll be right in the, it's probably going to be like I really loved it or hated it again, like kind of mode where, in other words, the way that they're taking it is either in a direction that you're cool with or it's going to bother you.
When I was playing the gameplay, a lot of people were like, this doesn't look like an Assassin's Creed at all. Like that, we kept getting that comment a lot.
Yeah, like some people, like TV, you said you really like Valhalla, right? Like
Yeah,
you would
I got
probably
down with
gladly
Valhalla.
like another version of that in Japan, right?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. But
For
this-
me,
probably not
Valhalla, one of the biggest selling points to me was just that I like the whole Viking aesthetic.
That helps,
Being able
exactly.
to-
That's the
being able
thing.
to dive into that was a lot of fun to me. And I kind of echoing what Watson was saying earlier. I thought the prologue was actually the strongest part
Oh,
of
interesting.
Valhalla
I
by a
agree with you
landslide.
on that game.
I enjoyed the rest of the game, but
Yeah.
the prologue was just so compelling. You know what I mean? And you felt
The
so
man, that
connected to what was
prologue for
going on.
Shadows was great. I was sitting there like, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at that hook in you.
But
It
yeah,
was
the prologue was
the
really good.
the only thing I didn't care for with Valhalla was the overabundance of copy pasta open world activities. But the whole idea of like Vikings getting their longboat in the water and sailing to a new location to conquer, you know what I mean? That I liked that whole vibe quite a bit.
I stole a longboat. Well, I borrowed it. It says
Nice.
borrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, borrow.
Borrow.
Did you give it back?
It was gone when I came back, so
Someone
just
else
assumed they
borrowed it off
found
you.
it.
maybe someone else borrowed it back. Yeah, maybe.
It's like
I
a city
cannot
bike. You
recommend
just leave it
borrowing
where
a
it is
boat.
and assume it'll get returned.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend it IRL. True story. In my younger, wilder days, I stole a boat when I was a teenager, and in the Caribbean, and I
Oh.
flipped it, and and
Oh.
I have a spot on my head where my hair grows in crooked,
Oh, big
and
scar?
scraggly, because I have a big scar from where I hit my head
Oh my god.
during that. Can't recommend.
What kind of boat
actually,
was it?
stealing a boat? It was like a. You have you ever ridden on like a catamaran?
Yeah.
It's like a larger version of that.
Wow. That's a big boat to steal, TV.
That's actual thievery, TV.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
That's grand
crime.
theft.
Yeah.
TV,
I didn't know you were a pirate.
I was an actual pirate of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
TV,
Yeah.
you should get some
Stole a
art
boat down
done
in
of you
Montserrat.
being like a pirate priest. That'd be great.
Pirate priest.
TV, the pirate priest.
I'm struggling with the swings between stealing boats and like Christian school playing video games under the bed.
My life's a lot more domesticated than it used to be. Yeah.
Was that it for the Xbox event?
That was it for Xbox. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. That's the best news I heard out of Xbox in a long time. That was a bunch of games I'm excited
Yeah.
to play.
It was
I mean-
very cool.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Did you play
And
it
they're
yet?
all coming at the first half of the year, 2025.
Yeah, other than Ninja Gaiden 4, that's a good point. It's a lot about, but you're right. A lot of it's packed in like before June, and then Ninja Gaiden's a little farther out. It'll be interesting to see what else they have, for the rest of the year. I don't know if we know anything off the top of our head, but I mean, they got another Call of Duty probably, but I don't know, Call of Duty's out every year, so I assume,
Yeah.
right?
How is
Booty.
this Call of Duty doing?
I'm
Pretty
sure
good,
it
I
made-
think.
Yeah.
I mean, it made billions.
Think
I
so.
don't know more or less than previous billions, but
Yeah. I don't know either.
I don't know what I
haven't
believe
really
people were
heard
pretty
much
happy
about it though.
because I heard good. I mean, I heard nothing but good things about the campaign from a lot of folks that are like, "This is great." I heard Zombies was great,
Yeah.
and I heard the multiplayer was pretty solid as well. So, I mean, I think it's just one of those like we've had so many Call of Duties, and there's definitely some that pissed the fan base off, but I think this one kind of just was, yeah, it's good, and it's on Game Pass now.
Yeah. Cool.
I mean, in regards to PvP stuff, Marvel Rivals is a thing that keeps slipping into my YouTube
Bro.
shorts and TikTok shorts and all that kind of stuff. Like
I'm
it just keeps
150
popping up.
hours deep.
150 hours?
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't pick it up until
Yeah.
about 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh my lord.
So
Wow.
fill us in, because wasn't there a release of the Fantastic Four? Didn't they come?
Yep.
They get introduced. Yeah.
Yeah, so they released the first two heroes, which are Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm, Invisible Woman. Both of them really unique and great additions. And then later on in the season, they're going to drop the Thing and Human Torch. So Thing is going to be a tank. I'm a tank main myself, so very excited about Thing. But yeah, the game is so good. Like, the voice acting is exceptional. I mean, you literally have half of the cast of Critical Role in there. You've got Troy Baker in there. You've got Nolan North in there. So pretty dynamite
That's
cast of voices. Literally, people are talking and you're in the game, and you're immediately like picking it up. You're like, oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that person. Oh, I know that person. And it's also got great like deep cuts in Marvel comic book lore. Like, I was a comic book nerd as a kid. This was back in the day when I grew up north side of Indianapolis, and there were no good comic book stores. So what I would do is I would go online and I would like use the money I would earn from mowing lawns to like order them special order through like specific collector websites. And then you have to wait like 4 weeks before you got a new issue. But I'd order them by the dozens because they were like $1 a piece. You know what I mean? So
When you said you got money from mowing lawns, I thought you were gonna like selling drugs or flipping boats or
Based
something
on
like
how
that.
this
No, this was
podcast has
Jacking
gone, he
cars,
most
you know?
likely was stealing
So
boats.
anyway,
the
I used
money
the
I
money
spent-
from Jack
money from my
the
chop
laws of-
shop. Yeah, money from my chop shop buying comic books. So like
Mowing
when
lawns
they
is
made
Indianapolis slang for selling weed.
cutting grass, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Magneto lately. He's making references just off the cuff of like Krakoa and Genosha. And it's like, if you're not a comic book nerd, you have no idea what these things mean. But as a comic book nerd, I'm like, yes. You know what I mean? So I really
That's great.
appreciate
I'm glad they have them.
yeah, I'm really appreciative of the care that went into developing the lore of the game. But anyways, it's been a lot of fun. They've got a new event going on right now that has a lot of these like it's almost, it reminds me of like Japanese New Year kind of vibes, where you got the red and the gold color combos on a lot of these characters and Japanese mythical creature skins and stuff. It's great. So it's a lot of fun. It's totally free to play. Like I said, 150 hours in. I've not spent a single dollar on this game yet. I probably
No
will.
skins.
Nope. So what they do is there are challenges and missions that you can complete that will earn you currency. It is not fast, but if I wanted to, I can use that currency to buy skins in the game. And yes, there are some skins that you have to pay IRL money for, but a lot of the skins are really accessible. It's like if you have a main, like in a game like this, usually you do have a main anyways.
Yeah.
It's a hero shooter. So you just collect the currency, buy the skins you like, and you're good.
Right.
Quick question,
Okay.
TV. Is it the thing or thing?
I think it's the thing. Isn't
Normally it's the thing,
Okay.
but technically there are, a lot of different universes within the universes.
Oh, okay. Is
Yeah,
he
so-
rocked
Oh, man,
all the
man.
way through, or is he like man in the middle, like a jelly filled?
Man in the middle.
Yeah.
And what's his
my
insides made out
understanding
of?
is that he is all organic material is converted into that stony exterior.
Okay.
He still has organs and stuff inside of him, but he's
Briar, you're
he
trying to
ain't-
explain way
it's
too
not
much.
like his skin is just stone.
Okay. I always was
It's like
curious, like if he was
It's like
just
trying to.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I was-
the question makes sense, but I'm like, are you going to explain like what happens to Mr. Fantastic's insides when he stretches like that?
I'm
like,
curious now that you mention it.
He is fully, all of his
like, does he
organs
just
are
crap
elastic.
himself sometimes? Like he's too squeezed the
Can you-
stretch
can you
a little
bring him
far.
out sometime?
Yeah.
Like a toothpaste, like an empty jar of toothpaste.
Well, it's just
That's what I'm
cracks me
saying.
up that a lot of people and IGN actually published an article about this where like players are having a hard time taking this character seriously. It's like, bro,
It's
Come
Gaiden.
on. He's a literally stretchy man. Like,
Yeah.
he's never been a serious character. And meanwhile, the game already launched with a girl that is literally half squirrel and bounces on her floofy tail to fly through the air and shoot explosive acorns at people. So
What's her name?
It's literally Squirrel
Squirrel
Girl,
Girl.
and it is,
Girl.
and she's voice acted by the AT&T girl. You know, the brunette.
The AT&T guy. I'm not familiar. This is like someone who reads
The
the
commercial.
ads.
Yeah, like the girl from the AT&T ads.
Yeah.
I forget her name.
Milana Weintraub.
And she crushes it. It's great.
I don't know who that is, but
Is
And
Mr. Fantastic a DPS character? What's Mr. Fantastic?
He's a duelist, yeah. So the game has 3 classes of characters. You have duelists, which are your DPS characters. It has vanguards, which are your tanks, and it has strategists, which are your healers. And within those overarching categories, you do have some like sort of hybrid characters. And Mr. Fantastic is a hybrid. He's technically a duelist DPS character, but he's a hybrid tank too. So he kind of has this built-in mechanic that the more you use your elasticity, the more you're building up stacks of elasticity. And once you get to a certain threshold, you puff up, and he looks really goofy. He waddles around like a penguin, and he's like huge, and he gets like a huge temporary health bar that's on par with other tanks of the game. So he's actually quite funny to play. And you can like grab 2 people and like slam their heads together, really cartoony. It's great.
It's like Zach in League of Legends.
I'll be honest, I learned a lot today. The Squirrel Girl, I didn't know at all about, and I'm just looking into all of this.
Don't Google Squirrel Girl.
But I will tell you, and Watts, with that reaction, I am wondering. No, let's just say it. Like, is this like a furry thing as well? Because it looks
it's
like
she's got a thick ass and thick thighs.
Oh,
okay.
but
I'm gonna
she's
go
also.
hold on a second.
Mylin's like, hold on, she what?
She thick as hell. That's why.
Well, I'm gonna look into that too. But I was like, is
What,
this like a
these
furry
squirrels?
thing
She's
as well?
thick with a tail. And with a very detailed naked model.
Let's
I've
see,
heard.
Squirrel Girl fan art.
And she leads an army of squirrels, and the lead squirrel of that army, the like general of her squirrel army, is named Twinkle Toes. It's amazing.
Wait, is she actually in Marvel Rivals?
Yes.
Yes.
What's
I
wrong with
must have
you?
been scrolling over. Well, this would be my main. Why am I not picking it?
You also don't have to aim to play her. No.
Perfect. She's support. Okay, I've literally never seen anyone else play her either. Is she not good?
She's literally in the comic books killed Thanos and Galactica.
What? How'd she do that?
Well,
With her
they're
army of squirrels.
I assume.
Never underestimate your army of squirrels.
Threw some nuts at him. Cracked his
My
nuts.
wife-
Nuts.
Speaking of squirrels, my wife has defeated squirrels. She likes bird feeders. You know what? Turns out squirrels don't like hot pepper. So you put hot pepper
I
in
think I've
your
heard
bird
that.
feeder. The squirrels don't fuck with it. It's amazing.
And
She is
isn't that-
squirrels.
And isn't that also because the birds, they don't have a spice, they're
Yeah.
resilient,
They don't care.
immune to it. or whatever.
Immune. They're immune to heat. Yeah.
So it's like
Go
you can do that,
potatoes.
but if the squirrel take a bullet, they go nuts.
Yeah. We got no squirrels around. We got bird shit everywhere. But no squirrels.
Oh man, that's good stuff.
You got
Squirrels are bugs.
spicy bird shit everywhere. The birds are thinking, God, I mean, I normally have squirty bum, but I got extra squirty bum today.
Squirty bum. Is that an Australian term? Because
That's
that's a good
That's
one, dude.
also in England for sure.
No, that's
Squirty
good.
bum.
It's not subtle.
No,
It's very descriptive.
Not subtle.
it's a little on the nose.
I don't think we have nicknames here in America. We're just like, you
Got
crapped
the
yourself,
Mhm.
you bleeped your pants.
Yup.
Was my bleep word pants? Did that come
Yep.
through as a bleep?
Yeah, there you go. That
Okay,
worked,
good.
that worked.
It
I was hoping.
Bleep.
Otherwise, I was going to swear on stream. What else?
Guys,
Mm-hmm.
What?
Destiny is a video game.
Oh my
It
god!
is. It's
Really?
also in the name of this podcast, isn't it?
Well, not technically.
I mean,
DCP.
DCP
Like
not
IGN.
right
in
above
the
your
name.
head.
Oh, yeah, it is right there. You're right. It does say Destiny.
It's like right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe you're going to say the same
Full of
thing.
Brady
I'm
wants
like,
to be like, oh, yeah.
the big reveal is January 28th for the next episode, it's like it feels like we might as well just wait.
Fran, this was like the biggest update to PvP they've done maybe ever.
Mm.
So I feel like we need to touch on it a little bit. Before we do that, but when I say a little bit, I know very, very little.
Degenerate
That's what I was
Give
worried
you
about,
my
though.
general.
I love that.
I've watched like 3 people read it, and I'm still confused. So I know a little bit. But the big thing that they're doing with Heresy is that they are going to be moving Heresy back to weekly content and story delivery. So no more like Act 1 all at once, Act 2 all at once. I'm just going to read what they say about it
This
first.
is a pit of heresy.
This is Heresy.
No, they
Just heresy.
That's the final
I'm
episode
going to read it.
3 in the final shapes episodes.
We understand your concerns about a return to this approach, but we've learned a lot from the all-in format in Revenant. So in Heresy, we're striking a balance between everything dropped on day 1 and of an act versus meaningful reasons to log in throughout the episode. To that end, we've made the vast majority of all activities content available on the first day of an act, with said content evolving based on the weekly story. Additionally, each week will feature a seasonal challenge that rewards a new tier of seasonal weapon. So it's kind of, I guess they're trying to hit a balance of it, where you have the things available to you, but they evolve with the story or something.
Yeah, I didn't totally understand that. Like, mostly what I took away is like instead of the 6 weeks as well, they're saying it's 3. Isn't that what it said?
We won't rely on a fixed length for each act like the previous episodes.
Yeah.
For example, Act 2 will last 3 weeks instead of the standard 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's what I felt like. They're like, well, look, like we're dropping all 3 weeks at once now, but then you're waiting 6 weeks for the next thing. And then it's like, it sounds like, yeah, they're truncating things. I think that gets us closer to where we need to be. I think they're also facing just like a void of players now that they're kind of up against. Like, they're like, we kind of just got to get as many people playing at once as we can because the player numbers are getting thin. But it also makes me wonder, I don't think they mentioned anything, but like, what are they going to do maybe before the launch of Frontiers? I think we'll still get some kind of cool Into the Light Pantheon return update. And like, maybe this leaves some room for those types of things, now that they're truncating things.
I mean, I'm interested to know what they learnt. I mean, that's not really said. I mean, that's the big like elephant in the room. We learnt a lot, so we're going back to weekly drops. It's like, okay, but what you learn?
Unpack that a little bit for me, yeah.
They obviously learned that people weren't logging in every week, and maybe that looks bad. I mean, that's the cynical view of that.
And you're right, man. We're the elephant in the room. We're not even saying that like going back and forth between the kiosks and stuff. It shows itself as like what it is, and they're also up against that issue. It's like, or like, let's take the last act where like you want the next step after I finish the exotic mission is to go back into the exotic mission for another 45 minutes or whatever, and like it shows itself as like, whoa, wait, that'd be better off wait until next week.
I think if I think about what the problem would be, it's kind of like, I don't think the problem was dropping it all at once. The problem was nothing was changed. So like you said, everything was dropped at once, but it was still technically the same format in that drip feed, but you just played it all at once rather than playing it every week. Whereas like if it was dropped all at once and there was something different about it, then maybe it would be received better. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what the Destiny players, how they feel about it.
Yeah. I also felt like the dropping it all at once kind of, I don't know, it kind of exasperated the repetition even more because I just found myself like, all I'm doing is like just going from Ido over to this table and then over to this spider tank and then back to the other table and then back to that table and then back to, just like, I just found myself getting exhausted by the repetition much more quickly. And I felt this way for a while now, but I feel like if Destiny wants to do fantasy things like doing the whole apothecary alchemy thing, then it needs to find a way to be more fantasy genre like. Because right now it's just taking a fantasy genre idea and throwing it into a live service model, right? Where you're just checking off these things instead of actually going out into an environment that's really interesting and collecting ingredients for your potions. And that's like when they pitched the idea, I was into it. Like for example, I know it's kind of an unfair comparison, but when I play Skyrim, like one of my favorite characters I've ever played in Skyrim was a full-blown mage that I played that I couldn't wear any armor, I couldn't do any smithing. The only way I could make money was that I was a trained alchemist. So the only way I could generate revenue in that playthrough was to collect reagents, go to my alchemy lab, make potions, and then make my rounds to the cities and sell them. And so when you pitch to me this fantasy idea of being an alchemist crafting potions, a part of my gamer side immediately assumes that's what I'm going to be doing, collecting these reagents instead of just play game, hit button on table. You know what I mean? And it kind of takes the fantasy fun out of being an alchemist.
Yeah.
So I think they need to find a way to bridge the gap between these genres they like to explore, because all these different episodes or seasons, whatever you may call them, that they like to, they tend to like to have these general aesthetics, like the vampire aesthetic or whatever it may be. But it just ends up being more live service with a spray paint coat over it that says vampire.
It's the live service blueprint with the theme pasted on top of it.
It didn't feel vampiric at all. It felt
No,
more
it
like
didn't at all.
zombie, if anything, with the score, not vampire.
But I think if they can find a way to bring in the best of both worlds, the live service model and whatever genre they're trying to bridge a gap to, and actually bring in some real actual elements of it instead of just a paint job, I think that they would have a better time retaining player interest.
Well, I think that's what Frontiers is probably aiming to do, right? Is to change that formula.
Yeah, I think so.
Hopefully, maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, it's still live service though, and like therein lies the issue. It was in a way like we were talking about Doom, the Dark Ages. It's just like that is such a pure campaign experience, and like of course, like that's very different. Something like Destiny here, well, regardless of whether or not it's seasonal updates or a new big expansion, it's still rooted in like this weekly bounties, missions that repeat. So, it's always going to be some version of live service. But yeah, my wish personally, of course, is that it is just more cleaned up, and it's the stretch. And I use this word today because I was talking about Diablo 4's new season, and just like that treadmill, like just. There's too many games that are putting you on this treadmill because like they want you to get into the store, they want engagement numbers, and they think that leads to you being like this lifelong fan. And that worked for a while, but we talked about it last week. We are 10 years plus now, and it's like you're not going to surprise and delight people. So like, what do you do if you're trying to put them on some kind of treadmill at all? Like, I think it's dangerous is all I'm saying. Like, you want the content to speak for itself, just to be so. That's where I come from. Is I want the content to be so fun. You are not trying to drag me back and forth to kiosks and go here and go there, because I'm just logging in because like Onslaught is so fun. Into the Light had a little bit of that, but it was the cornerstone of it was like sentiment, and I think it's hard. Like before you cap off this huge Destiny story, they launched all this sentimental stuff, and like I think that played a big part in it, but I do think like Onslaught was a good example of you surprise someone with a mode that's so fun. It didn't matter about the quests and the bounties. It was just so fun to log in and get the goods.
Oh, I 100% agree. I think that part of the winning formula for Destiny will always be investment into ritual activities. I feel like there's been this shift to being hyper focused on let's just have filler stuff, but then we're also going to have these big things like dungeons and raids. And I love those things. Don't get me wrong. I think those are fantastic activities. But when it comes to player retention week to week to week, I think what you really need to have is solid ritual activities that are just fun to play. Because that's where the majority of your player base is going to spend their time. They're not going to be every day, let me find some friends that are really good at the game to get together to do these huge activities and exotic quests and dungeons and raids. Those are all great content. But I think for me personally, looking back on my favorite eras in Destiny history were just times when all I did was just, I just can't wait to log in and play some PvP. Or before I was even a content creator, it was can't wait to log into Destiny and play some strikes and see if I can beat my last time or whatever it was, and that was just it. It's just the ritual activities, and I feel like we've gotten further and further away from ritual activities being the foundation of Destiny. So
no, I completely agree. And again, they're up against, even with good ritual activities, they're also, that will help, but they're also up against, well, the gameplay itself is still so the same roughly, and so they need to somehow at least get it to be 30% new even and interesting on top of like, this is a great ritual activity, whatever that may be. Like, you played so much Space Marines too and could speak better to it, but like, what was the mode called? Expeditions or what's the main grind mode there called?
Yeah, I think it's something
maybe
like
it was
that,
Expeditions.
right?
But that was it was almost like it was this wave-based, strike-based, almost taking from the story, and it was like so much fun, but like that type of thing could be a ritual activity, so to speak, right? In Destiny. And I'm just trying to understand, like, you would love to see more modes like that, right, as cornerstones.
Yeah, just continue to invest in those ritual modes. And one of the things that I think Destiny could definitely do better that some other games, like let's just take Marvel Rivals, for example, hero shooter, not exactly the same genre, but one of the things that you could do is just that your choices matter. So when I log into the game and I queue up a match and I pick a character, the more I play that character, I'm actually working towards a list of goals for just that character. As I'm playing, for example, Magneto, it's like, hey, if you soak up X amount of damage with your ultimate ability, which puts this giant magnetic ball up in the sky that soaks any bullets or projectiles people are shooting during that time, they go up into that ball instead of hitting their targets, and then it powers it up, and I can drop it on people. The more damage you soak up with that thing, you're going to level up this bar, which is going to give you kind of like reputation points for that character. And the more you level up your reputation points for that character, the more you unlock for that character. So new sprays, new emotes, new nameplates, a new like profile picture that lets people know I play a lot of this person. You don't get any of that in Destiny, where the more I use viced weapons, I'm gonna get. If I get 50,000 kills in PvP with viced weapons, I get a new emblem that is really cool. It's that viced green and black, kind of has that poison vibe to it. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that helps with replayability, where your choices matter and you can be working towards clear goals. But a lot of matches in PvP or strikes that you play just feel like throwaway time, where you don't have anything to show for it. You just did something, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that good gameplay speaks for itself and has value in and of itself. But I also think it's important to have, even if it's just simple content like emblems or emotes, or skins for your guns or whatever it may be. But being able to reward players for their choices creates new replayability loops, where it's like, now I want to log in, not because I've been spending all this time on viced weapons, but I kind of want the Haka emblem now. So I'm going to use the Halfdan D, and I'm going to use the Boudica and these other guns that are Haka oriented, so that I can level up my progression there. And you don't get any of that. People just use whatever the best thing is in PvP, right? It's a lot of I don't know that I've played a game that relies on the meta quite as much as Destiny does, even with your quick play. Like, obviously in competitive environments it's different, but even Destiny quick play, people are so hyper focused on what's the meta thing to use. But if you introduce incentives, then you start to see some variation. That's actually one of the few things I thought that Halo 4 did well, was it had a ton of different goals for showing off your affinity for different weapon sets. But anyways, soapbox.
No, maybe that's a good. Should we talk about the PvP stuff, Watts? Or
I'm gonna do yes. So there was like 2 articles that were massive. After this, Fran, you're our man on the ground, and if you don't want to talk about Destiny, it ain't happening.
I will be
because I try, but I'm not playing anymore. So I'm just like.
No, I'm interested to hear the PvP updates, and again on January 28th, there's a big heresy reveal that we'll want to talk about next week.
So the TLDR, there's a lot of other stuff, but the biggest thing really is Trials of Osiris is moving from getting like being flawless to getting 7 wins on a card, period. So if you get 7 wins on a card, no matter how long it takes you, you go to the lighthouse. Now, how many rewards you get is based on your win streak. So if you get a ton of wins on your way to the lighthouse, you get a bunch of you get a lot more rewards. And they're making it super rewarding, like super rewarding. Crazy rewards. They're adding new armor, new weapons, new emblems. They're adding a ton of stuff to trials. And then they're also adding like an Iron Banner quick play thing where they essentially the thing that I get is like, this is what Destiny PvP does. They take away modes because they don't have a larger player base enough to support all of the modes.
Yeah.
So they consolidate all of the modes. And then they like, oh, people want to have more selection over the modes. So they add a bunch of modes you can select. And then they do the same thing. And then they just keep going back and forth. And then they do the same thing with skill-based matchmaking. Like skill-based matchmaking is here. Okay, we're taking it away. We're adding it again. We're taking it away. We're adding it again. We're
Yeah.
opening. We're closing it. And that's kind of what's happening with the rest of it. This is TLDR.
Yeah.
I mean, both of these articles are like something
yeah,
like
and, like,
7,000 words each. So
Yeah, I mean, you're right that there's like a lot of big changes, especially if you play PvP. And like, I always like, I kind of enjoy it, but I don't play it. I always have to bring up, I'm like, yeah, I just need like a brand new, like unique mode, like an economy based. I'm always using Apex Arenas from back in
well,
the
I'd
day.
be
as a-
curious about you, Fran, because for me, I've been trying to ask people their thoughts on like what they could do for trials because I ask and they're like, oh, it's not enough to get me to play it. And I'm like, well, if you're like me, who there's literally nothing Bungie could do to get me to play like trials again or PvP again.
yeah.
But if you are someone who there is something that they could do, I'd be
Yeah.
curious what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I haven't played Trials in a while. When I look at that, I see that there's going to be a small population player base. There's still going to be matchmaking issues. For all I know, there's going to be cheaters. I don't know that right now, how that's
yeah, there's
doing. But
cheaters.
I don't feel like I can log in for 60 minutes and see if I'm getting close to putting 2, 3, 4 on that card. I think I'm going to get absolutely stomped, and that what TV said is true. And it's like, dude, why are you not? They just updated the frost armor with renewal grass. Everybody's using that. And like, why aren't you using that? And also this, and I'm just like, I don't like playing meta PvP, to be quite honest. I think that's why I originally liked Destiny 1 PvP, because there was only like a few things to choose from and to know. And, you know, it's not that I'm against like them releasing powerful stuff in there, but it's like TV was saying, it's like it feels like it's so much about that. It's like you're not using that build, you're gonna get stomped on. It's gonna feel a little cheesy with stasis every time. I mean, does anybody really like being suspended and getting frozen still? Like I
That's
I
a
never
bad mechanic in every game.
Yeah, it never like and is going to be there.
Mhm.
Invis
So
is like
you need-
not that bad by comparison at all.
So what could they do to get you to play PvP?
Well, like I said, their issue is you can improve upon what's there. And I'm not saying that, like, I'll log into Banner sometimes. I'm like, I thought it was all right. It was fun to play for a bit. And like, I just use Igneous Hammer and a shotgun. Like, I don't want to overthink it. And people, you know, again, have notes on like, well, you should use this. I'm like, it's not that bad with this. Like, it's actually okay. Yeah, more maybe the Iron Banner quick play stuff. But when I read it, all this other stuff, it's like, going to go back to the meta stuff, and it's going to be the same maps, you know, and it's ultimately
They added new maps, friend. You probably haven't played
no,
Trials
I
on
did.
them.
I did play those, and actually, those
Oh,
are
did you? In
solid
Trials?
maps.
Oh.
I mean, it's been
Nice
about a
job.
year probably. No, they crushed that, but like no more maps are coming, and
Mhm.
you know you're gonna play on a bunch of old maps and maybe get a few of those maps. Well, if it's Trials, you know you might get one specific, but again, it's that it just feels too old, and it's still just like a
Yeah.
slight version difference of what's been there, and I need a new mode that, quite frankly, is more casual, I guess, to some degree, or can
Well,
be
that's what
casual.
the other
Like Gun
Trials
Run.
passage is, kind of. So there's a separate Trials passage that isn't about going flawless. It's just about playing, basically.
The Lighthouse
Where you
Passage.
can't go to the lighthouse, but you get a bunch of like Trials loot from it.
You're talking about, yeah, I hadn't read this part yet, but Lighthouse Passage, which grants access to the fabled simulation on Mercury, that thing.
Yeah, not that thing.
Yep.
Oh, but not that.
Yeah, you don't go to the
Okay.
lighthouse. It's supposed to be like a chill, less pressure thing.
Yeah, lighthouse for everyone, but much better rewards for longer win streaks or something. Yeah, I
Right.
guess.
That was my
No.
understanding. Right?
There's
Wasn't there like
there's two passages.
Oh, okay. There's the the
one
flawless
is like the
passage.
just get 7 wins, right?
Yeah.
And then you get your loot. And then if you go on longer kill streaks, if you're going flawless, obviously without losing, then you get better rewards, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, the lighthouse passage. You're right. I'm reading. There's a 1-win streak, which gives you enhancement cores, a ghost shell. That one, and then for example, like a 5-win streak for that. But yeah, there's multiple passages to look through. We'll have to dive into that detail. But again, like it's still going back to what I said. I think it could be interesting, but like I think I'm gonna get absolutely stomped as someone who doesn't play. And
It's just
those
not
are
a healthy enough player population to
There's
populate it.
no
to-
one playing Destiny. Well,
But-
not no one. It's definitely a smaller population than has been in
yeah, it
ever.
It is that, but more than that, it's the meta stuff, and it's just is what Destiny 2 PvP is. But I always use this example. I think people to the point are getting tired of hearing it. It's like gun run or whatever the mode was in Apex, and then of course Call of Duty before it. It's like, why haven't they had an exotic gun run? Like it'd be so much fun. And same thing with like just try some new mode that's a new economy-based quick play where you buy an igneous hammer the first round, the second round you can get access to the sidearm, the third round you get access to the rocket, whatever. I just need something like that. Then I can play on some old maps. But anything else, I'm like.
So to piggyback off what you're saying, this is kind of where I'm at with it. As much as, and I'm not a Destiny hater. I'm a Destiny fan. I will always cheer for Destiny to succeed. But the only way you get me playing Destiny PvP again is either because we're playing. I think Destiny's too big for PvP at this point. There's so many subclasses, so many guns, and they unsunset everything too. So it's just too big. It's too much to balance. And if I do play Trials, I'm playing on Destiny 2 came out in 2017, and half the maps in the Trials rotation are D1 maps that came out in 2014. So here's
and there
where
are
I'm
favorites.
yeah, here's where I'm at. Either I need Destiny 3 or we need loadouts in Trials. Maybe I'll play it again if it's because it's a much more contained environment when you but then on the other end of that, it's like, well, isn't the whole idea about Destiny is like the freedom to create? So that's also offsetting that. That's why I feel like it's like, quite honestly, it's Destiny 3 is what we need for me.
Yeah. But you hit the nail on the head, which sure, that's what Destiny is, and I feel like you're in a meeting with the developers, and that's what they're saying, and it's like, okay, fine, but put that aside. What does TV want? I'm hearing you're. It's great to hear from someone who's a true like pro in PvP that you're like, oh, I wouldn't mind. It sounds like you're saying have more curated stock of weapons.
Yeah.
Keep that under control.
Because right now Destiny's so inflated. It's like just bring it down to just a more simple format.
Yeah, and I feel like the developer in the room would be like, wait, that's not what Destiny is. I'm like, I understand that, but we're 10 years in, so just let's try this other thing because actually PvP can be fun. It's just it's too bloated, like you're saying. Yeah.
Right now, there's a Bungie exec writing down TV wants Destiny hero shooter.
He's already told them. Trust me. I mean, they know. And remember too, with development that I always bring it up, but they want a lot of stuff that we want. They've had layoffs, resources have to go to other things, but also too, they're always going to be 6, 12, 18 months behind in terms of where their thinking's at. Like, so remember that let's assume Frontiers comes out in June or July, that thinking started right before Final Shape and way before really, but in earnest, probably before Final Shape was done. So it's like, you're always behind the curve. You can't respond, in other words, to December being the lowest player count. What are we going to do by this June? I mean, you can do little things, but we got a ways to go.
Well, what I'm kind of hearing from someone who's also out of the loop is, you can change rewards and like increase rewards for player, but that's kind of a band-aid fix, right? Like it's not going to solve the core issue for why you might not have a good, healthy population in a PvP game. Like, all right, bump up the rewards. You might get some people jumping back in and try to get those rewards, but it doesn't kind of solve an issue to why you have a lower player population as it is. And that's a hard problem to solve because I don't think we really...
It is, yeah.
No, exactly what the problem is that it's a mix of a whole bunch of different stuff. It's a classic question of like PvP and MMOs, where MMO light players, you want to feel the power fantasy in PvE, you want to get gear, you want to get stuff, and then you want to shit on players with said gear because you've earned it. And then how do you balance the sandbox around that in PvP? And then when the game's been out for 10 years, how do you introduce new players to that with the 10-year veteran run around with the god tier gun and you've got nothing?
Yeah.
So it's like. And then all of a sudden you're in a downward spiral and you're struggling to keep your PvP population up. So,
Yep.
I don't know.
I thought
This
for a
would have
long
been
time
good like
they
3 years ago, I think. Like, how long have we said like just
Right.
let people work their way to going to the lighthouse and like getting something,
Yeah. I
Mm.
said it. I think you're actually spot on. I think it was 3 years ago. I posted a video that said that.
Probably was,
Like,
yeah.
just give them the friggin' loot. I don't even
Yeah.
care. I don't care as long as okay. So you got it in 45 minutes because you went 7-0. But I'm not gonna gatekeep the guy that spent 3 hours just to get
Right.
7 wins and be like, you can't have it. Be like, I don't care. Give it to the guy.
Right.
End his suffering. I don't care.
Yeah, I was thinking, the business term for that is it's downside protection. It's like, all right, if you tried so hard that, you go whatever, you got to the 3-hour mark, it's like, all right, you can have it because, you know that you'll eventually get there. And like, I know that can be.
And realistically, he
Sure,
ain't gonna
but yeah.
outgun me with the Igneous that he took
No.
3 hours to get. If it took me
No.
45 minutes, what do I care?
Yeah, it's that's another discussion. There's way too much stock in god rolls being powerful. They are powerful amongst very skilled players. That's where like if TV is as good as the opponent he's up against and the opponent has, they're the same skill level as a god roll. Like, sure, that might make a small difference. But, like, meaning 90% of the population, like, that's not a thing,
Yeah.
Like, meaning
just had a
TV can outgun me
flashback.
with the crappiest stuff. He probably doesn't have to use anything. Sorry, Milo, what was it?
I just had a flashback to D1. Was it the Thorn quest and you had to get like so many void kills and you
Yep.
went backwards if you
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Wait.
right.
You could lose progress?
Nerd.
Yeah, you
Yep.
lose.
It all
progress.
went wrong when they started taking that out of the game, let me tell you.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
bring that back.
Exactly. Dude, what if your season pass starts to unrank as you make mistakes and like all
Well,
this
you know
other stuff?
what?
Yeah.
It was a sign of the end because they stopped developing PvP because they're like, oh, we can't have anyone doing anything in PvP or achieving literally anything because God forbid everyone can't get everything in the game.
Yeah.
Yep,
Tell me how you really feel.
Well, I'm not playing.
Sorry, if I seem slightly distracted,
I won't be
should say,
playing Frontiers either.
yeah. If I seem slightly distracted, Briar is typing all kinds of like randomisms
I
in
know.
chat
I'm
right
seeing
now.
this too. Like, what is he even typing?
Briar's trying to stay awake. all right?
Yeah, he's like, did you guys see that Dark Ages
Been early
trailer?
morning, it's
It's like,
And we got this chat bot for the 6th
Yeah.
week in a row. Be like,
But I'm
have you
like-
seen this monk flicker build yet?
yeah. But I'm like, why is DCP Live, the official chat channel, asking this question? We talked about it on the show, but I get it now. Funny.
Yep.
Go.
Oh, I didn't
Done.
post Twitter questions. I forgot.
Oh.
I was listen. I was straight. I was live at 9:50 a.m. for the
Busy
Xbox
slicing
showcase,
people up with your ninja sword.
and then they announced Ninja Gaiden and stuff, and then I got distracted. Got very distracted. Well, we can take time to talk about tomorrow is an exciting day
Yeah.
because
Yes.
Fran is going to be playing Monster Hunter World, backseated by me.
First time. For the first
Hell
time.
yeah.
Yeah, so
First time ever.
I hope
And
you
yeah.
take that job very seriously, Watts. Like,
Oh, I will.
backseating.
Oh yeah, I'm watching. I'm watching it. I'm not. I'm just
Yeah.
watching him. I'm gonna
No,
go.
it's-
"Fran,
it-
should,
I need like a highlight video too when it's all said and
yeah,
done.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be fun. Like, obviously, I have to repeat that. It's like I hate to experience great games that way. And like, I've always known that I'll like Monster Hunter World, but I haven't played it at all. I don't think. Like,
Nope.
No. I was trying to remember if I ever played like any demo, but no, I'm very familiar with it. But so it's going to be a fun one. That's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific time. I'll be live just a little bit before that on Twitch. I believe Watts will be live on both YouTube and Twitch.
Yep. Because right before that, I'm gonna be playing Monster Hunter World with some Monster Hunter community members and
saw
Joe, the
that.
community manager.
Yeah, I saw
God.
that.
I
Congrats.
just-
That's pretty cool.
What a
just put two and two
switch
together.
in attitudes that's gonna be.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
right.
I was just thinking if any of those people keep watching her stream, she's gonna also have like these hardcore. I mean, everybody who watches
The
Watts
Monster
also
Hunter
loves
community
Monster
is
Hunter.
really nice.
Yeah. That's
It's
actually
not the
that's good to
Destiny
hear.
Well, they
They're
were
not like a
anyway, until
judgmental.
tomorrow.
It's
I
true
can't,
though.
I can't wait for the like title screen. Then what's goes press start?
Yeah.
Press any
No, I'll
button.
be
Type in the game.
no. That's why I'm getting the character creation and some basic tutorial stuff or whatever.
Yeah, he's
out of
doing like
way
the
and-
opening.
Okay.
Maybe we should have you finally play the bow, Fran, so I can fully backseat you.
You got to decide. I mean, actually, it would be interesting if Watts hasn't decided what type of pain she wants to inflict upon me.
Yeah, it's
we'll
like when
see.
you go to those restaurants where the chef like decides for you what kind of
Yeah,
meal you're
Oh
gonna
my
have.
God.
omakase. Yeah.
Yeah, Watts
That's what it
would
is.
be like, "I am picking your weapon." This is
She's gonna give me.
Are you gonna pick the weapon if you decide?
wait. You need to come up with some real BS questionnaire to give him, like, and then be like, "I have decided that your weapon is."
You know what? Watts gets to decide. Yeah, I have no idea. Like other than
We
my
might have
character.
to put you on a controller,
Yeah,
Fran.
are you using a controller? or
No, I
mouse
know
and
I
keyboard?
will be on a controller
Okay,
because
I'll be like,
I
what button is it? Alfred,
Yeah.
Alfred.
yeah, that I am. If you have listened to our previous conversations, like I still want to play Wilds on mouse and keyboard probably, but I was
Yeah.
like, I can't have you watching me and her being like, "What are you doing right now?" Like, and me being like, "I don't know, I'm on mouse and keyboard," and she's like, "Well, I don't know what you're pressing," so I'm like, let's not start there. I think it would be
Yeah,
frustrating for
That would
everybody.
probably be a bad idea.
I can't be binding keys, so yeah. So I'll be getting a controller, tutorial, and maybe she'll be selling me on that too, and she'd be like, "This is why you don't switch." It'd be fun,
It'll be fun. It'll be
Yeah.
a good time.
fun times.
Nice.
Excellent.
Yay.
Anything else big? Maybe before we got, I would say the other thing I spotted out there is that we're about a week away from I think the Nvidia 5090 being out, but overall reviews have been getting out the door, and the short of it is like it's the 5090 in particular, which is $2,000. It's very expensive, but it's powerful. Even at a base, but like price or power per dollar, if you will.
Yeah.
Is they're like, yeah, I mean, you might enjoy that, but you're not getting as much value these days.
You're
but,
not.
but
Yeah.
if you're super into it, you might want to try to snag one. Otherwise, the 5000 series in general, actually, the value there is probably better. But I'm excited for that. I don't currently have the money to get one, and like I kind of want one. I'm like, maybe I can fit, but that's probably big over the next few weeks to see what happens there.
Yeah, I wonder if it'll be one of them sell out pre-order situations, or if
Oh,
it'll be
yeah.
in stock. That's
Well,
a
it's
high
gonna-
price.
Yeah, $2,000.
It's
I mean,
very expensive. If you don't have a 4K monitor, that's the first thing you need to upgrade because that is overkill for 1440p gaming.
I'm going to be playing 1080p at 20,000 hertz.
exactly.
Ew.
All right.
I am curious also, like, I don't feel like consumers aren't in a like I'm spending a lot of money mood right now. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I'm
Like,
sure not.
No,
The-
yeah. I mean,
Christmas shopping, I haven't heard any reports, and so maybe I'm just like wrong on this, but it didn't feel while I was out Christmas shopping that stores were as busy as they have
Yeah.
been in years past, and I wonder what like kind of the consumer outlook is right now. Like consumer, how they like rate like consumers' confidence and all that, and like how was like
Yeah.
the overall spend on Christmas compared to other
Mhm.
Christmases, and like how does that rate into like new hardware spends on the gaming side? Like, we got
Yeah,
a
I
new
saw-
PlayStation, we got new hardware coming for PC, like
Switch 2, whenever that is.
Switch 2.
I think that I had seen like a little data, so I don't know how accurate it was, but I believe it was like kind of flat, or so they didn't see like the growth that they had hoped, but like consumer spending was decent, like year on year kind of thing.
Mhm.
But then I think you have to take a subsection of like people who buy graphics cards for their PC, and that
Especially
buyer-
5090s.
yeah, specifically 4090 now. Yeah, like you need a subset, and frankly, I think like it most likely, I assume, would sell out. I don't think you'll have a
You're probably
PlayStation
right.
5 Pro like if you compare PlayStation 5 Pro, right, an enthusiast that you'd be like, oh, aren't they the same people? Like, not quite. And then, like, yeah, there was more stock of PlayStation 5 Pro ultimately. But yeah, I assume the 5090s would sell, but it's supply and demand. I have no idea, like,
Yeah.
what that's gonna look like.
It's more than just gamers who buy these things. You know, it's the
yeah,
it's
and a
the
good reminder when
AI
you
guys and the crypto guys.
yeah, the crypto bros. But it's a good reminder if you are thinking of getting one too, the decisions to be made around like, do you just want like a 5090? There's also 5090 Founders Edition, which interestingly is everybody's talking about it like it's a new vapor chamber design and really an interesting way forward potentially from Nvidia. So that's exclusive to them right now. They haven't, I don't think, released that to their third party. Like if MSI makes a card, it'll just be the standard stuff. But then, of course, all of those you can also buy a 5090, which is going to have all sorts of cooling around it and overclocks and stuff. And so, you have that to look forward to as well if you're trying to pick them up.
It's funny. The last couple of graphics cards I bought have been, quote unquote founders editions or like Nvidia cards. I have not been buying. I always used to buy like Asus or MSI cards because they had better cooling. But this last couple of generations, like the cooling's been fine straight from Nvidia. Like I haven't really felt the need to go to a third party to get better cards.
Yeah, I can't say with absolute certainty, but I mean, I'm pretty sure like thermals in general, on graphics cards, it's solid now. It's when you decide to overclock, or if you're building like small compact systems that it's starting to affect like the cooling in your overall case. But like in general, they're all fine, unless you're pushing things more to the limit. So, but exciting times.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the reception is. That is a high price.
It's very
you are
expensive.
right. Like the 3090, 4090, 5090 buyer is like kind of like a different subset of gaming, right? It's like
and like these are people too
best.
And if you are those people too, chances are you have a 4K monitor, which you should be playing on if you're getting that level, and like you're just trying to squeeze out like another 20 frames. And then, you get into this discussion of like it has all the 50 series period, but including the 5090 does this multi-frame generation. But that's where the verdict is out, right? So, again, the example's like, well, I was only let's just say you were only getting 60 frames in Cyberpunk, and you did DLSS 3, and like so it ran better, but it just like you were only running at 60. So now with the 5090, in theory, you're getting closer to say 80 frames for your base. But then you now have multi-frame generation that if it feels good, what I'm getting at that people are talking about, like you're still playing at a base of 60 to 80 frames with your controller, so to speak, your reaction. But then the graphics card's just spitting out like a bunch of extra frames that make it look like there's more. And that's like a huge discussion around where these cards are going. It's like, where does that work? And where is it like, dude, that's just like, I've been going through that even with DLSS sometimes where I'm just like, this just feels weird because your base frame rate isn't high enough. So anyway, it'll be really interesting to see where this goes. And then, related, what of this type of tech, it's not going to be 50 series, I don't think. But in Switch 2, it remains to be seen, like, what is the Nvidia tech going to look like? What is the DLSS support going to look like? So should be interesting.
Well, I'm going to buy one. I'm working on my new AI. So I really...
Your AI, bro?
Yeah, I really think this one's going to take over the world. I think it's going to be a good investment.
The Briar
be on
meme
the winning
coin.
side.
Yeah.
We do need a Briar meme coin.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to sell high.
I
just
bet
let
you'll
you know,
sell real
everybody
high.
who's in chat right now, this is going to be a scam. So
you should launch it.
I cannot recommend it.
You got to launch it on episode 420, dude. The Briar meme coin.
We'll call it the low morals Bitcoin. Should we wrap this one up, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Later, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.